The president said in Tahoe that he had tentatively decided to recommend everyone get the new vaccine. When is he going to decide finally?
So I think you've heard from the FDA and CDC. They've made an announcement on the new vaccine. So certainly they said that there'll be an updated vaccine mid-September, I believe. So we know that, as you all know, vaccinations against COVID-19 remains the safest protection for avoiding hospitalization, long-term health outcomes, and death, which is why...
I know you want me 1, 2, 3. Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keane. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, check us out. Facebook, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from, please make sure to hit the like, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share this link. That is absolutely the best way to support and just kind of show your love. And plus, it helps me to get out there. That way, new people can find me. And if you'd like to donate and support to the channel, that's also a good way to support. The powers that be, they put a target on the backs of people like myself and you. Those of us who are aware of the agenda, that's going on right beneath the noses of everyone. And it's been the weaponization of everything too, by the way. The weaponization of truth, even. By giving you half-truths, right? In order to manipulate people, manipulate the masses. And they do this in the name of, whatever, cause they're dressing up. But it's obviously got an agenda. And most of the agendas are to undermine your freedoms or to walk you to the slaughterhouse. And that's just true. I don't want to get, religious and dogmatic and all that shit on you, but the truth is that there is a very, there's a spiritual connotation to this as well. It's a spiritual war. I don't think people can deny that at this point. It's incredibly obvious. The amount of rituals that are taking place right now, I don't know if I've ever seen it as big and as widespread and as obvious as it has been recently. We just had the blue moon last night. So every time, these moons come around, there's always moon manifestations, but this was a big one. This is a big one for those that practice. And, not everybody uses these astrological events, for benevolent purposes. Most of the time, the people that are into that stuff are trying to use the stars to control things for the purpose of manipulation, right? Bending people's will to conform to what they want to happen. Trying to control the outcome, the future of society and humanity. I myself, I've been getting tested a lot recently. A lot. It seems like it's a constant, and it has been ever since I've been doing this, and just simple things from the, the people that I meet. It's almost like darkness has a way of aligning us or drawing people to us that are there simply to just take advantage of us, to take advantage of our kindness. They see it as weakness, to take advantage of our hearts, to take advantage of our love. And what's really sad too is this system continuously preys on people that are already at a disadvantage within it, right? That's how they get a lot of these people, guys, including the politicians and all of that, right? They compromise people. They prey on your weaknesses. Do you have something that's a defect in your character? Because that's what they'll attack, right? Drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it is, right? That's what they'll go for. They don't fuck around. They go for the jugular when they're attacking people, And they use people that have already been compromised, and they threaten them, usually by, using fear to motivate them, to get them to do what they want them to do, to get them to do their bidding, right? And we've seen many people set up this way, spend the rest of their natural fucking lives in prison, murdered, go up, come up missing, never seen again. And this isn't just people that speak about truth. This is holistic doctors. This is attorneys that defend the wrong fucking person, It's anybody that pushes back against the archonic and demonic system. And, sometimes I wonder, and I feel like there's a lot of truth to it when we think about the concept, is our reality a reflection of ourselves and our thoughts and our emotions and how we perceive things to be? And I say, yeah, in a way that is so, That's the law of attraction, that frequency, that vibration is a primary law. And we will surround ourselves with whatever vibe we're carrying around. But sometimes, guys, that's not exactly how it works all the way. There are entities, there are groups, there are collectives of people that are negatively natured and are vampiric in nature. They're looking to feed off of someone or something, whether it be for monetary gain and wealth, or simply just taking your energy. Some people do it to pump up that ego, that shadow side, And when they become puppets of the system and they're motivated by fear, right? Usually fear of going to jail, fear of being exposed, fear of losing their children, fear of losing their husbands, their wives, their career, their whatever, right? They'll damn near do anything. They'll damn near do anything to save face. This has been something that's been going on with me for years. I honestly can't remember the last real fucking person that I interacted with, just to keep it totally real, And a lot of people that are watching this would come from all walks of life. All different schools of thought when it comes to our religious beliefs and, how we perceive God, including how we perceive the world. Not all of us agree on all of that either. I'm not here to pump the doom and gloom or anything like that. Matter of fact, I'm here to do the opposite. I'm here to illuminate things and shed a light on what is actually taking place, to raise awareness, which by raising awareness, we will raise the vibration of one another and creating community. That way people like myself, who has been targeted, and like you, who I imagine a lot of you have experienced that as well, have a place to go to where they can share their thoughts, their views, their opinions, and they can gain more knowledge, and feel safe somewhere to express that and be themselves. People are afraid of what's different, Like, I'm one of the most kind-natured people in the world, but I can see it in people's eyes when I start actually talking and sharing the things that I believe with someone, because it's so alien to what they're used to. It scares them. They're afraid. They don't know what to think. They don't know what to believe. And this has even happened with people that, even watch the channel and shit, which is weird. It is. It's weird. It's like, you're actually like who you are on camera. It's like, yeah, I'm actually that person. And I guess I haven't made enough money or anything like that to turn fake yet. I don't know. Or haven't joined the right club or whatever. Maybe that's what it is. But what's real, unique, and genuine is alien and foreign to people. So people like yourselves, we are the black sheeps, guys. We are the black sheeps. And I don't want to conform. I don't want to be like everyone else. You know? If you look at our world right now, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. People are fucked up. We go to, and you can just use the spiritual institutions as an example. You know, these are the places where, this should be where the best people are at, where you get the most, or the least judgment, the most forgiving nature, like all of it. In our churches and synagogues and, you know, in our mosques, all of our spiritual institutions. And they're by far probably the most judgmental and corrupt systems we have. There's no inclusivity when you look at them. Same thing with the justice system as well. Few and far between do you see agents of our justice system that actually help defend and protect those in need of it. Those who are like whistleblowing. Whistleblowing's become fucking an act of treason. They'll kill you for it. Or they'll put you in prison till the day you die. So you might as well be dead. No protection for that. You know. No protection for the citizens that are just exercising their rights, their constitutional rights, by speaking, you know, freely and giving their opinions on certain subject matter. I had a couple of videos removed again. I think the last time I did a video with you guys, I had a couple channels that got strikes and they took down a video or two or whatever and demonetized one of my channels and took down a Discord server. And since then, which was about a week ago, I've had a couple more videos that were taken down. Since then, you know, and those of you guys who have watched me for years, you know, it's like, it's almost by doing this, I've never been able to have a functional real life in any real way or ever even have any real type of connections with people, you know, on the outside of this, which is insane. It's crazy. It's weird. It's wild. To think that people are so easily influenced that, and they're intimidated into attacking the people like you and me, into making us look crazy and alienating us from society. It's motivated by fear or the desire to belong, the desire to fit in, or the genuine belief. A lot of them have the genuine belief that they're better than us, you know. That what makes us different makes us bad. What makes us different makes us worse. So, I mean, when I meet people, you know, a lot of times the people I meet are motivated by wealth. They think I may be rich. I don't know how they get that idea. For real. But maybe it's just because of the internet stuff, or they've been sent to me by some, you know, 3-letter agency or God knows what, or they're motivated because I said something about their religion or their political party or whatever, so they actually hate me. And it's like this is what keeps people in line. This is what keeps people in line, and I see it now. You know, and I have seen it for a long time, but I'm amazed that it still has continued at the pace that it's continued at. I'm amazed that these people that are supposed to protect and defend, you know, the citizens of their country don't step in to defend people like me. You know? I've experienced defamation of my character. Been made to look like the biggest sack of shit on earth in a million different ways by 100 million different fucking people. I've had my personal life destroyed 100,000 times over. every time I meet a person, as soon as they find out this is what I do, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long before somebody gets to them or they themselves come to their own conclusion that I'm not a good person and I deserve, some form of retaliation, retribution for being a nonconformist. I mean, shit, they have, even through the, Patriot Act and the reauthorization of the Patriot Act, came up with ways, guys, to legally target people like yourself and me. If that isn't fucked up, I don't know what is. Ruin our life with directed energy weapons and all of this crazy shit, right? And I've talked to so many that have actually experienced that and the trauma that it causes, the PTSD that it gives people from these experiences of the gang stalking and, the dues and all of that. It's like just fucking, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And it's damn near impossible to prove when it's happened. And even if you could, it's damn near impossible to convince anyone that it's actually real and does happen to people every day. It's like, who are you going to get to defend you in those situations? Because the very fucking people that are supposed to defend you are the ones who are actually waging war against you. Not because you've done something illegal or wrong, no. But because of your opinions and your beliefs. And the way that you carry yourself may inspire others to carry themselves in a similar way. And anytime we do speak truth, anytime we do share these kind of things, they find a way to either scrub it from the internet by shadow banning and censoring and all of that, flat out taking it down, or removing whatever page on whatever platform you fucking use to post it. Or they'll undermine it by attacking your character. They try to expose your vices, Oh, this person's a sex addict or a womanizer or a drug addict or an alcoholic or, so on and so forth. Greedy, selfish. As if the very same fucking people that are actually attacking all of these innocents aren't sacks of shit themselves. Aren't perfect themselves. So that's why when we do things on this channel, I try to do it from the point of view of no longer going after the individual, but going after the ideology, the thought process. Looking at the evidence and looking at the propaganda and what's being presented to us. And why is it being presented in such a way, right? What would be the desired result or outcome of such a presentation? And what's really going on underneath the bullshit agenda that we're being fed all the fucking time? I really wish that there was a way, to have some form of litigation, seriously, and, an attorney, someone to defend, myself, my business, my livelihood, my life, my freedom, against the attacks I experienced and everyone like me that's went through it too. But I don't know of any of those outlets at this moment. The only thing I know that I can do is this right now, what I'm doing now, I tell you, and the experiences get wilder each time. That's the crazy part. That's the crazy part. The experiences get wilder each time, and I feel more and more lured into the trap each time. And it makes me angrier each time too. It makes me sadder each time too. you know. And it's a constant battle for, I think, all of us to just keep faith that there are still good fucking people. To keep faith that there are people who, you know, even care about people like you and me. Like I said, you know, it's like having a moral compass or any type of, you know, virtues are looked down on now in our society and in our world. It's looked at as weak. It's undesirable. It's not attractive. The more base and carnal and all of that, yeah, you're good. You know, you're good. You'll go a long way with people. Or at least that's, you know, that's the feel of things. That's what they want you to believe. That's how they want you to feel. That's why so many people have detached from it all. You know, they've been traumatized by the experience of life. Love, relationships fuck them up so goddamn bad they can't even open up and be vulnerable to anyone. You know? They walk around with fear of every person they're involved with because every person they've been involved with has probably done them dirty in some type of way. Or had some ulterior motive. Had some agenda. Some form of betrayal. And we start to accept that as a norm, and then it becomes to where one of two things happens. Either A, people begin to settle in life, and they accept, you know, these dilapidated conditions as, you know, normalcy, you know, and they start to settle for mediocrity, you know. Their life becomes below par, becomes bullshit. And they accept that bullshit. They think they can't do any better. They think that's what they deserve. They think that's what they're worth. And then they think, well, if this is what I'm getting dealt, then this is what I'm going to dish, right? This is what I'm going to give to others. If this is what I get, this is what I give. And they just perpetuate and complicate the problem. Or they totally withdraw. They isolate. They close the doors to their heart, their mind, their soul. They lock it and they throw away the fucking key. You know? They never open back up again. They're not willing to. It's too much of a risk. And when I look around in life, too, it blows me the fuck away sometimes. It really does. Like, if you have a desire to, like, live and be alive and experience and be spontaneous and have fun and all of that, it's wild to see how many people's spirits have been killed by this world. You know? It's looked at as immature, childish, right? It's not responsible. Or fake. You know, a lot of people, you know, wonder why you smile all the fucking time or you're happy or positive. It's just crazy. It's like, because I think that's our natural state. You know? The depression and the suspicion and the anger and, you know... all of that is probably the unnatural state. Just saying. If they have to use propaganda to put you in that state, then you didn't come out that way. If they have to use drugs to put you into a suggestive state to make it more effective, then you probably wasn't designed to be in that position either. You know? Just saying. And if I get on here and I say too much about myself, then people will see it as egotistical or whatever. If I get on here and I say too much about, you know, the attacking and the, you know, the people trying to set me up and all this shit, I'm telling you, it never stops. never ever fucking stops. Literally. I've had people call the fucking police on me. I've had people do the craziest shit. It's insane. It never stops. People don't want to hear that either, you know. They think I'm like pandering for pity or whatever else. Matter of fact, I've had Facebook take my fucking videos down because I've, talked about them being removed on YouTube. They say I'm trying to influence the way that you feel about my content. I'm trying to sensationalize things by telling you the goddamn truth. I experience attacks all the time. Disingenuine, shitty people all the fucking time. You want me to lie? I've literally had my fucking livelihood destroyed by people. My life destroyed by people. For trying to make an honest living doing something creative and expressive. Or for trying to bring awareness to a bunch of shit that's really fucked up in our world. And doing it in a way where I just don't have a filter. I'm just not made that way. I'm sorry. I'm probably never going to be on CNN. Or the public broadcasting channel or whatever, right? Like, it's just not how I'm made. I cuss. I like, shitty rap music. I can't sugarcoat what's going on. There's no sugarcoating it. It is what it fucking is. You're being manipulated. You're being lied to. You're being brainwashed. And you have been for so goddamn long you think it's normal. Because you were raised by people that were also brainwashed. And they were raised by people that were also brainwashed. You were conquered before you were ever fucking born. And it ain't about your race, your sex, or any of that. It's everybody. I'm telling you, they hate us all equally. They hate us all equally. And if you think that's not true, then you're just foolish. You're just foolish. That's why there's every different variation of hatred and discrimination. It's to make sure they cover all goddamn bases and get you all to do it to each other. They don't need to do anything to you. They'll get your brothers and your sisters to do it for them. They'll get your wife to attack you, your girlfriend to attack you, your husband to attack you. That's how crazy it is. Start telling the people around you what you think is real, how you truly feel, and watch how they react. Start posting it online and expressing your opinions and your beliefs and see how people respond. Start whistleblowing on some real deal shit. Where your actual, government is coming after its own citizens, trying to murder them and silence them and deplatform them and defame them, and see what happens to your life. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish by saying that. Yeah, it's okay if I say whatever I want to. It's my channel. That's the whole point. I'll call whoever what I want whenever I want. My freedom of speech is guaranteed by the First Amendment, as a matter of fact. So I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks about what I say. And don't feel like I've called, Joe Biden a child molester. If I have, it's, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Nobody sees it or hears it. They shadow ban my channel anyways. The point is, I don't have a goddamn power to go set Joe Biden up by going and putting a fucking kid's pair of underwear in his fucking bedroom or something. They'll do that to you, though. You see what I'm saying? There's a major fucking difference. A major difference. Than someone spouting off an opinion and an actual goddamn attack on someone's life. And thank you so much for posting that. We're going to go ahead and jump into this. I do appreciate all of you guys for joining me. Well, I mean, I just, I don't, kidding or not, I just, I need that to be, I need people to understand, I feel like people come in my chat and they try to undermine what I'm saying, and they do that deliberately to try to discredit what I'm saying, or to diminish what I'm saying. That way it won't be taken seriously, or it won't have the impact that it should on people, And I'm not asking nobody to fucking feel sorry for me or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. At all. At all. I'm saying enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. When are we going to start fucking caring? Why did the truth become something trendy a few years ago and now everybody don't give a shit? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You still got your faith in politics. You still got your faith in religion. Like, what do you put your faith in? How many people out there are putting their faith in themselves? Empowering themselves? Working on themselves? How many people even consider the rest of the fucking world with their actions and their purpose and all of that? Most people's world is no bigger than their skull, right? It ends here. All they do is think about themselves, their own existence, and that's it. Selfish, self-centered, that's how we're programmed to operate. Even the spiritual community tries to program people to do that, man. A lot of bullshit in the spiritual community too. Just like there's a million, disinformation agents in the conspiracy shit. Conspiracy theories are some of the best weaponized psyops there is out there, guys. I swear to you. They're the best. Because they sound real as fuck. And they look like they're being hidden from you. But they just so happen to allow certain ones to go viral. Or certain storylines and certain narratives. They allow certain shit to slip through the cracks, right? It's because they want you to believe that. Because if you believe a certain way, it's taking attention away from what's actually going on. Probably somewhere else. Or what the real story was with something, Or to keep you from focusing on what you could do or take action on something that you could do to actually change a situation. So they want your focus somewhere else on some dumb shit that you could do nothing about. And it's like, I understand, after COVID and all of that, the people are beaten down. I get that. Like, I fucking get it, man. I get it. It took a lot out of you, right? It did me too. I think it did everybody. They wore our ass out with that one. I've never seen such a global effort to fuck people over in my life. Since World War I and World War II, but I wasn't alive for those. But I'm just saying, I've never seen such a global effort to fuck everybody over as we did there. And it's coming back, by the way. Didn't know if you knew that. We'll talk about it tonight. We're going to talk about Donald Trump's mugshot, which is trying to polarize you over to the Republican Party because they want you to put a goddamn Superman cape on him and believe you got somebody fighting for you. and believe he was cheated and believe he got fucked over too. Global fuckery. Yes, that's a perfect term. That's what the title of this video should have been. Global fuckery. I like that. But they want you to believe in Trump because they want to control the opposition. You know? Same thing with like Christianity and all that, you know? Here, let's act like you're all being, you know, attacked. You know? This is persecution. It's the largest religion in the world. You guys are persecuting everybody who isn't one. What the fuck you talking about? You're the most judgmental people on the face of the earth. You know? And your priest raped children. The fuck you talking about? You're running rituals on everybody in your churches. It's all fake and televised and propagandized too. And you have organizations and associations that you have to follow in order to keep your 501c3 because you're tied in with the government as well. Shut the fuck up, you know? Or any of these specialized groups of any sort, you know? It's like, let's go ahead and destroy the majority so we can give special privileges to a small group of minorities. So, and I'm not talking about just people of color, I'm talking about every little special group they create. Let's go ahead and give them extra rights to balance out the scales. That way we can manipulate all of the people to try to want to become one of those special groups we've created. Even if that means cutting off their fucking genitalia or mutilating their own children. And we've cuckolded the population to the point where they're all tucking their dick between their legs. They're all afraid to say something. They're all afraid to do something. Even shit they don't agree with, even shit they feel is wrong and immoral, they'll either shut the fuck up about or they'll go along with because everybody else is doing it too. You won't look woke if you don't. You know, you'll be some sort of phobic, right? Xenophobic, homophobic, whatever a phobic, right? You'll be one of those. Oh, you won't sexualize children? Okay, yeah. You're not progressive or liberal enough. You're not liberally minded, you know? Well, you know, the whole counterculture movement too, yes, that's psychological warfare as well. That's why we got to be so, you know, and they watered down spiritual communities and all of that to the point where people don't believe in it anymore either. You know, that's why people, they don't rally around any of these communities anymore. They don't support these communities anymore. And I'm talking in any way either, you know. People won't even take the effort, you know, to hit the goddamn share button on a video that's being censored or shadow banned, or to, you know, buy a coffee for the fucking creator making the video. Like, it's crazy. Because they've been manipulated so much by all the bullshit, they think it's all bullshit now. And I don't blame them. But at the same time, it's like, where's people's discernment? You know? Where's your discernment? Well, I think transgenderism is not about... PayPal should not be blocked at all. It's not... I don't know why it would be blocked. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's just got the wrong link or something, but there's one in the chat. It's paypal.me/thebestdamnpodcast. But the transgenderism stuff to me is not about, let me pull this up so I can quote you. Hold on. Yeah, right here. It is about sidestepping the merger of human and machine. I think it's about actually sterilizing the population. That's, that's still part of the depopulation plot, in my opinion. That's what all of this is. GMOs, right, in the food and the chemicals in the food, sterilizing you. Jabs and all that, sterilizing you. Like, here, I'll put that link in here. There you go. And all the rest of them, it's the same thing, depopulation. That's where we're heading now. It's why we have all of the culture wars and all of that we're experiencing now. We're watching society and civilization collapse, and it has to happen, I guess. And I feel like it has to, because if it doesn't, what's left? So I understand the premise of destroying it so something new can reemerge. I absolutely get that. And at this point, I'm on board. We don't went too far. The system's broke. The world's broke now. So yeah, I get it. I do feel like there has to be some controlled demolition of society, of the legal system, the medical system, all of it. The internet is no longer what it was. It used to be the only place of free speech. It's no longer that now. The people that are allowed to speak are the people that are handpicked to do so. Because they have someone's hand up their ass, literally making them, regurgitate a narrative or whatever else. And people get pissed when I get on here and do this, too. That's what's crazy. It's like, will you just get to the goddamn news, John? Will you stop telling people what you actually think? It's like, this channel is not for beginners. I mean, if you're a beginner in all of this and you want to watch it, cool. But this is like the advanced shit, man. This is the advanced shit. And I do feel like if this found you, then it was meant to. You were drawn to it. You were attracted to it for a reason. And I hope you take something away from it. But I'm beyond dogma. So if the fact that I, love tarot bothers you, eat a dick. Eat a dick. We don't do that here. It's not for you to decide what's good and evil for me. Like it isn't for me, for you. I don't care if you think astrology's real. Don't watch those videos. You don't have to. And that's the problem. Or if I talk about Donald Trump and I don't, suck his ass as I do it, then people will get pissed about that too. Don't give a shit about that either, but just saying. I'm not here to tickle your fucking ears, dude. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of me existing and doing what I'm doing. It's like, I want to watch somebody who's actually a real fucking person, who's actually going to share what they literally believe is going on. They're not going to say something just because they're trying to fit in some group, fit in some collective, fit in some mold. Or they think it's a smarter business model. Give me a fucking break. And people are so warped at this point, like they don't understand anything but entertainment. They don't understand anything but entertainment. If it's not fed to them in a fake, cinematic, bullshit fashion, they can't even digest the shit. And that's if their attention span lasts longer than 90 goddamn seconds. Because of the vines and shit they've been, being hit with the last how many years. I feel like YouTube is almost irrelevant. People say, go to Rumble, go to BitChute. I'm on those platforms. They're dog shit. Half the time, BitChute videos don't even play. You know what the monetization system is on Rumble? You think you're gonna, make a living there? You think you're gonna reach people there? Give me a fucking break. It's like people don't understand how bogged down we've all been by this. Like how much the world actually changed. And they're getting ready to go round 2 on your ass. And don't wait to give a shit when you're at home locked down with fucking, graphene running through your veins. Then decide you give a shit again. Because you're bored. Or laid off work or fired from your job. Then you'll decide it matters again. Everybody was an activist during the lockdown. Everybody was spiritual during the lockdown. Everybody was political in 2016 when Trump was getting elected. When it's fucking fashionable, that's when people give a shit. But when it's not, and it's actually real, and it actually counts, and they're playing for keeps, and you're getting fucked, you're silent. They're rolling over. Capitulating, bitching up against the system, totally. Blind, oblivious, and most people are so goddamn overworked, overstressed, overstretched by life, they don't have time. They don't have time to work on themselves. They don't have time to keep up what's going on. Or, some fuckhead YouTube conspiracy spiritual shitbag has told them that if they watch something that has an asteroid in it, that it's too negative and, they're going to make it happen. It's like, give me a fucking break, people. Burying your head in the sand is not going to get shit done. It's understanding how it works. And you can't understand how it works if you're so fucking dogmatic you call everything witchcraft. Of course it is. That's the point. Is to show you what they're doing to you. Quit being such pussies that you can't even talk about it. That would be my suggestion. Or people are so, broke and they have however many 2 or 3 different minimum wage jobs. They can't afford to give to this stuff. They can't afford to support any movement or anything like that. They're barely able to take care of themselves. And can we fault these people? We cannot. And it's like until people realize we're all in this together, until people realize that we have no room to judge one another for shit because we're all imperfect. Every group is oppressed in some way. Until people get that through their thick fucking heads, we're in deep trouble. We're in deep trouble, and it's like you have to see at this point like the necessity of what's taking place. We're all being forced to do something about it. If you can't see that by now, if you haven't caught on by now. And they're not, God isn't trying to force you to overthrow the government either. He's trying to force you to make the change within yourself. He's trying to force you to surround yourself by like-minded people. and to put your time, money, energy, and effort into shit and people and movements and causes and things that matter and things that are beautiful and things that bring good into the world and that shed light on the darkness. Things that are true. That's what we're being called to do. That's how the change happens. And it's like, I get really hopeful sometimes when I see, the increase in awareness in different areas and avenues of life. But then also it's like it gets very discouraging too to see so much awareness and so little action. So. But, people will absolutely eat this shit up. I can't tell you how many tweets I seen when Trump got his mugshot of like, he's back. We got our guy back. Trump ineligible for presidency because of his role in insurrection, lawsuit says. This booking photo shows former President Donald Trump on Thursday, August the 24th, 2023, after he surrendered and was booked at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta. Trump was indicted for scheming to subvert the will of Georgia voters in a bid to keep Joe Biden out of the White House. Now think about that. He was arrested for subverting the will of the people. How many fucking people should be in prison or have their mug shot on the television for that one? Right? That's a joke too, right? They try to influence your will on so many different things when they were threatening to take away your jobs if you didn't conform to certain policies and mandates. Or when they deplatformed all the people who didn't agree with certain narratives. Like, come on, man. South Florida lawyer filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump seeking to have the former president declared ineligible to run for another term as president. The lawsuit citing Trump's involvement in the January 6th, 2021 insurrection and wants the federal courts to enforce the 14th Amendment to the Constitution added after the Civil War to prevent people who engaged in rebellion against the United States from holding office again. Now there you go. This is setting a precedent. Those engaging in rebellion. Do you see how controlled opposition works? This is called character assassination. They put a figurehead at the top of a collective and then they assassinate the fucking character, and they might actually assassinate this motherfucker, just saying. That could be a possibility too. And they do it to take out the groups or collectives that fall under the character. The best way to control the opposition is to lead them. He was brought in to draw you all out, to make you feel comfortable by voicing your opinion, to make you feel comfortable by, trumpeting your fucking beliefs. And then what happened? All the social media platforms and content platforms found you all, right? Banned you, muted you, deplatformed you. Then this was watch my private content. Or you can also see it, I think the videos are up for free on BitChute and Rumble. But the January 6th stuff was a false flag event. Flat out. How can, so this shows you how fake this is too. Right? If the actual thing they're indicting him for is for something that was literally a fake federally ran narrative to go after a political party, which then later resulted in 30,000 troops occupying our capital as a transition was made to the next party, which just so happens to be a socialist, diet communist fucking party, right? Who then brought in mandates for jabs and all of that as well, and they're not done. If that was not real, then what do you think this is? You know? The attack after the fact. They do this that way it's okay to attack you afterwards. To get you next. Same thing with deplatforming Alex Jones. You know? They ended up taking me off iTunes too. I had over 100,000 downloads and everything. But they had to get the first shill domino to fall. You know? That's how this shit works. They get people to represent large groups like that. You know, notice Alex Jones and Trump and their connections and all of that, you know. They were blowing each other the entire time Trump was trying to get elected. Right? They ain't saying shit now, though. Now Sandy Hook's real and from Alex Jones and, you know, and Trump's back because he got a mugshot. But his bitch ass tweeted out and told you to go where you got set up. He was in charge of the country on the day you got set up. You guys remember, motherfucker, you know, here, let's take a look. I'll show you a couple of pictures here. You guys remember all that? The fake fucking tear gas and the cops without badges and the exploding fucking blood packets on the plexiglass fake ass window and all the cameramen and, you know, all of that as they were setting that up. Watch my video. Watch my video on BitChute on the Capitol. There is no doubt about it. This was about as staged as stage gets. Posing for the camera. Posing for the camera. God, this is a joke. See? All the people who allegedly got charged and indicted and all of that. Maybe people really did get in trouble. But they had to have been. The people that was walking in the crowd yelling at the people with fucking camera phones like, this is fake! This is fake! But this motherfucker definitely is, you know, and let's just say for hypothetically that, you know, the QAnon shaman, you know, really is in prison somewhere and all of that, you know, we've already seen with the Tucker Carlson shit and we've been psyoped. We've been psyoped. We were psyoped when they smoked Kennedy. We were psyoped in Las Vegas, Parkland, Sandy Hook, you know, Boston, Dayton. We've been psyoped 1,000 goddamn times at this point. 9/11. And I hate to tell you, a lot of the wars are also psyops too. You repeat a lie enough to where it becomes truth. And then you go and you operate off of that basis. That the lie you've been telling is the basis of fact. That is the truth now, right? So then we start building lies on top of those lies as well. Creating these fictional narratives to deceive the people and make them believe something. And by the time they, you know, start questioning things, it's already built on top of so much bullshit that it's hard to dig it all up and get to where it all originated and what's really going on there. But you can almost fucking guarantee that every time, everything that is in the name of safety and security and all of that is a guaranteed death sentence to your rights and freedoms. You know. So. And every time that we see something with, guns and violence and racism and all of that, there is a highly politicized agenda to target specific groups or laws to alter and change them, or attack them or whatever. And yet still, for whatever reason, it's like people, they're not catching on to it. It's like, and if they are, I don't know if they care at this point. It's all theater, though. I honestly feel like your vote don't matter. Probably hasn't for a very long time, if ever. But I mean, who cares, right? Who cares, right? If you're not doing anything wrong and you don't have anything to hide, what's it matter if you have privacy? I hear so many people say that. I see idiots still riding in masks in 110-degree weather in Cincinnati, years after the shit's supposed to be over. Because they broke them. They don't know what to do without it now. I've seen people missing COVID. They missed it. They were complaining and whining about why people still weren't locked down, or why there still wasn't social distancing, or why they still didn't have to wear a mask. It was insanity. Mass psychosis. Straight up. And they told you to trust the science, when truth is, when it comes to viruses, period, the scientific method for proving they exist is by isolating them, and that never happened. But we had to trust the science the rest of the way through, just not in the actual way to prove something is real. We don't have to trust the science there, just everything after it, yes, then it's science. Selective science, all the doctors that went against the science, they got fucked. They lost their license, they were silenced, some of them killed, I think the real lesson should have been like, trust the science as long as it comes from Big Pharma. Trust the science as long as it comes from a politician. Trust the science as long as it's politically motivated or deemed to make a huge monetary gain for somebody who's got a vested interest in it. Then trust the science. Other than that, do not. Okay? That's not a credible source. Okay? Because we're not paying them. They're not under contract. It's not a credible source. We don't sponsor them. That's not a credible source. We'll tell you what's credible too. Through our own, media news outlets that are owned by 3 different fucking people. But all of them. All your broadcasting. All your radio, TV, all of it. And now we'll even, take over the internet to where those same broadcasting companies now just, pump the shit out here. Then you can trust the science. Then you can trust the news. Then, I guarantee you, I'd be amazed actually if this video don't get taken down for harmful conspiracies. Harmful conspiracies. Yeah. I've had a few of those, for sure. It's a strike. You get in trouble for it. Because you're not even allowed to talk about the possibility that something's fake now. You're not even allowed to express your opinion and thoughts and beliefs that something could not be real or be harmful or detrimental to us. Or you're harmful. You're harmful to the agenda is what it is. You're harmful to the brainwashing is what it is. I have to preface every fucking video by saying, hey guys, I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. This isn't financial advice. This isn't medical advice. Right? This is just for entertainment purposes only. This is relevant satire. Do not try this at home. Do not engage. Blah, 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 blah. If I don't say that, I get a strike every time. I mean, I have to completely discredit myself for them to even allow me to speak a little bit, and they still usually get me. So. But it gets better. It gets better. Where are we going to start here? Let's start back here. Let's go back. The mugshot from Donald Trump, election interference, never surrender. Actually, there is no civil war in politics. It's all theater to try and convince you there is a civil war. Everything they do is by a design and separation tactic. At the end of the day, they all retreat to the same country club and dine together while the unwashed masses duke it out on the streets on their behalf. This very photo was released to galvanize and further separate groups in order to divide and conquer. It's all a fake narrative to astroturf for the next election. If you're still binge watching the DC soap opera, you're a long way from connecting the dots. They want you to think there is a civil war so we don't start a revolutionary war. Isn't that the motherfucking truth? And like I said, every talking head and asshat puppet was posting this shit saying, he's back. Yeah, goofballs. And it gets weirder. It gets weirder. Bizarre reason. Aussies are becoming allergic to red meat. Doctors have revealed the bizarre reason. More and more Australians are suddenly becoming allergic to red meat. This is fucking nuts. I know, but, now they have lab-grown meat and shit. That's probably going to be the answer, which is, they replicate that through cancer cells. I didn't know if you know that. So that's why they'd rather get you to do that, or also, want you to eat vegan. That way you're all the soy products, which sterility as well, especially in males. And, that's what a lot of this is doing, is affecting, fertility rates. One of the best ways that you can get somebody, depopulated people, is just by not allowing them to reproduce anymore. Here we go. Let me make sure you guys have sound.
Allergy, making it the 10th most common food allergy here in the country. Federal health allergic. More than 100,000 people here in the U.S. have become allergic to red meat since 2010, all because of tick bites. A second CDC report says as many as 450,000 Americans have developed the meat allergy, making it the 10th most common food allergy here in the country. Federal health officials say those dealing with it often don't get an accurate diagnosis.
According to what doctors say, one of the hardest things about making this diagnosis is that you don't know when the bite occurred. It's not like you pull a tick off and the next day you start to see evidence of that. I had what we know now was an anaphylactic reaction. I woke up at 2 a.m. I was nauseated. I was dizzy. I was vomiting and doing other things one does when they're sick in the bathroom.
The reaction is called alpha-gal syndrome. It occurs when an infected person eats beef, pork, or meat from other mammals, or ingests milk or gelatin from mammal products.
That's so fucking crazy. So the moral of the story is eat lab-grown meat and get cancer. Pretty sure. And, it's not like they haven't started to genetically modify mosquitoes and all of that. So I'm sure none of these parasitic, bugs, which they want you to eat insects as well. So I'm sure none of that has anything to do with any of it, and none of it's connected at all. Right? The CDC says the new super variant of COVID is going to be much worse on those with prior COVID or are vaccinated for COVID. Does this make sense? Fuck no, it doesn't make sense. The risk assessment summary for SARS-CoV-2 sublineage BA.2.A6. CDC posting updates on respiratory viruses, detected the new SARS-CoV-2 variant, and is continually monitoring for new variants and studying their potential impact on public health. All viruses, including the virus that causes COVID-19, change over time. These viruses with changes are called variants. These changes can affect how contagious a virus is, how well it responds to treatment, and how severely it affects people. Last week, the new variant of SARS-CoV-2, BA.2.86, was detected in samples from people in Denmark and Israel. At least 2 cases have been identified in the United States, and this variant is notable because it has multiple genetic differences from previous versions. Based on what the CDC knows now, existing tests used to detect and medications used to treat COVID-19 appear to be effective with this variant. BA.2.86 may be more capable of causing infection to people who have previously had COVID-19 or who have received COVID-19 vaccines. Scientists are evaluating the effectiveness of the forthcoming updated COVID-19 vaccine. CDC's current assessment is that the updated vaccine will be effective at reducing severe disease and hospitalization. At this point, there is no evidence that this variant is causing more severe illness. This assessment may change as additional scientific data are developed. CDC will share more as we know more. And it's like really fucking weird. The same dumbasses, that fell for this shit round 1 because it says that they're the targets of round 2. They'll go do the same exact thing all over again, and you already know what I'm talking about. I don't even know if I'll get away with saying this much about it. That's what they deleted my Discord server for. It wasn't even for anything I said. It was for what you guys said. They said that I was allowing medical misinformation to be posted in my servers. So, yeah. But there you have it, right? It's coming after those who received it the first round. So, round 2, more bullshit. Yeah, and I only wonder, if we haven't seen and learned enough the first time around. I feel really, really bad for the people. Really fucking bad for the people. Because that was a shit show the first time around. Yeah, well, that was a shit show. And that was really divisive too, right? That was turned into the haves and the have-nots, when it came to all that. All the people strapped up with how many different boosts and shit like that, and then the people who wouldn't even let them touch them to test them, they became mortal enemies. And they used it to deny us entry into restaurants and employment and all of these things. And still, they still believe that they haven't squeezed every drop of stupidity out of people. So they're going to go at it again. They're going to go at it again. This is how you cool people down without, rounding them up and putting them into camps. You don't have to. These fucktards are walking right in line to do it themselves. So it's whatever. Right? Whatever. What can you do? What can you say? I'm disowned and disinherited for even questioning the racket. But parents still watch TV. Huh? That's why I quit trying to fit in forever ago. I can't live a life where I can't be myself. Like where I'm not allowed to talk about what I want to talk about, or, watch the things I want to watch, or listen to what I want to listen to, or, express my thoughts and feelings and opinions on things. Like, I don't want that life ever again. And I've seen a lot of people's true colors when all this started happening. I've seen a lot of people's true colors when this started happening. What few friends I thought I had back when I got into all of this, I immediately lost. There still isn't a day that doesn't go by that if I, when I do content and videos, somebody doesn't message me and call me an evil sack of shit for something I said or something I believe. Tell me I'm going to hell for whatever, it's like whatever, Yeah, the door is always open. The door is always open. I'm the same way, man. Like, I love everybody. I don't care if you fell for the agenda or not, Like, you're still a human being. You're still a person. You still deserve love. You still deserve all those things. It's like you can't get people now to give common decency and respect and, all that to each other for any reason. Let alone like compassion or empathy or support for people, because they made poor choices or bad decisions or are down. It's like craziness. And I hate to say it, a lot of the people that didn't do it were just as bad as the people that did, pointing the fingers at them and attacking them. It's like, yeah, they're stupid as fuck for doing it, but it's like we can't stoop down to that level, Whatever, and it's like we gotta allow people to believe what they want to believe and have, their right. Their right to choose. It's not up to us to decide. If they bought into the shit, then whatever. That's on them. We still should love them, respect them, be kind to them. Keep it moving here. And it gets worse. Kentucky school districts canceled classes less than 2 weeks into the school year due to COVID-19 viruses and strep outbreaks. So, yeah. And I feel like parents are fucking the worst, Panicky ass parents, like, they're the worst. They feed into this shit the best. 2 school districts in eastern Kentucky canceled in-person classes this week after a rise in illnesses, including COVID-19, respiratory viruses, and strep among the students and staff, according to local officials. The Lee County School District, which enrolls just under 900 students, reported an 82% decrease in attendance last Friday, which it attributed to illnesses including flu and cold. Superintendent Earl Ray Schuler said Lee County started the school year on August 8th. By Monday of the week, the attendance rate had dropped to 81%, with 14 staff members also out sick. I'm not saying they didn't have something going around. They obviously did, but it's very obvious, this is, being pushed because it supports the new narrative that's being pushed out as well. The buildings and buses being sanitized, all activities were cut off for the week, and classwork will be done remotely. So, so there you have that, right? There's that, okay? The world is getting more demonic by the day. In deadly Maui fires, many had no warning and no way out. Those who dodged barricades survived. Damn. Only those who disobeyed survived. Put that shit on a t-shirt. I love it. I love it. only the ones who didn't fucking listen got out of there with their life. Isn't that crazy? How about that? That's just a coincidence, I'm sure. According to, same thing with that C-19 agenda, was it not? Only those who didn't conform never got shit to do with it at all. According to a report by AP, the only road out of Lahaina was barricaded. Only those who disobeyed survived. In the deadly Maui fires, many had no warning and no way out. Those who dodged barricades survived. Only those Maui residents who disobeyed the barricades survived fires. Yep, during such events, you're likely better off following your natural survival instincts. And meanwhile, the guy claims there aren't a lot of parents asking about children, which leads him to hypothesize that whole families have been incinerated.
You won't believe it. You just will not believe what I'm going to present to you in today's video. When I discovered it, my jaw dropped, and to be honest, I'm still in disbelief. So whatever you do, turn off all distractions and watch every second of this video, because what you're going to see in here is going to leave you in absolute disbelief. You ready? Let's go.
It's not being reported right now in the news, but on a neighboring island of Lanai, they found 183 bodies washed ashore there. There's 800 as of today reported missing. There are many hundreds that are being refrigerated right now, trying to get ID. They're asking people on the island to provide their DNA so they can match DNA to others. Outside the media, they're expecting this to reach almost 2,000 people in death toll. This is right up there among the worst, if not the worst, since us becoming a nation as fires go. 85 Paradise, and that was considered the worst?
That was Pastor Jack Hibbs revealing shocking information that we don't hear on mainstream media regarding the terrible situation with the Maui fire. What is being reported on mainstream media is this.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, the team that's supposed to be digging through the ashes and delivering aid, has turned the tragedy into a junket. FEMA booked themselves into 5-star luxury Hawaiian resorts. They're shacking up at the Maui Four Seasons, beachfront of course. Rooms there are $1,000 a night. It's not just the Four Seasons. FEMA agents are also posting up at the Fairmont Key Lani in Maui, where rooms range there from $1,300 to $4,500 a night. FEMA agents are also crashing at the Grand Wailea Astoria, 5 stars of course. Are these the hotels Biden's FEMA officials should be staying in, gallivanting around in and drinking in, as search and rescue operations are underway with 500 kids still missing? Now, FEMA has confirmed that they're staying at these hotels. Biden's giving Maui fire victims $700 while his FEMA officials sleep at luxury resorts that cost more than that per night. FEMA officials could stay at the Days Inn, where you could get an oceanfront view for $250 a night. We confirmed it. Rooms are still available there. Now, when did FEMA develop this taste for the finer things in life? Because FEMA's administrator, Deanne Criswell, is complaining that they don't have enough money.
We're watching our disaster relief fund very closely. Our estimates do still stay that we may have a depletion of our fund now. I mean, this is a day-by-day monitoring of the situation. We will start to move some of our recovery projects and delay them until the next fiscal year.
Whoa! FEMA has a $25 billion budget.
Please.
Oh, they don't have enough money, to help with the recovery fund, but they can stay in 5-star hotels. You gotta love the shit, man. It's like absolute lunacy when it comes to all of it. And people don't catch it. Like, I don't even feel like people catch this shit at all. I mean, it's not funny that people get fucked up, but it is funny that, these agencies and Biden giving them $700. They couldn't even stay in one night in some of the hotels that the people, that are there for the recovery effort are staying in, who say they don't have enough money to actually do the recovery effort. So yeah, moving on. And make sure you guys are hitting the thumbs up and the like on this video, because I'm almost positive it may get taken down. I could possibly get a strike for this one, so make sure to donate, support, subscribe, and check out the other platforms as well. One daycare even said it offered kids the freedom to try out child sexuality in the rooms. German kindergartners promote sexual exploration rooms where children are encouraged to masturbate and touch each other. At least 2 nurseries in the German state of North Rhine-Westphalia have introduced the practice. German daycare promotes sexual exploration rooms where children can engage in sex games. There we go. This is fucking wild. Seriously. I don't know. It blows me the fuck away. It really does. It blows me away that people aren't outraged by these things. That I've even witnessed this too. You know, I've been around fucking people that like try to normalize this shit. It's so crazy. It's like there's nothing normal about sexualizing children in any way, shape, or form. It's like, why are we allowing this shit to go on? You know?
Holding a special meeting tonight after being hit with a 1
And California school district fined for refusing sexualized curriculum. Here we go. Oops, let me get the sound back.
Rejected a state-approved social studies book and other curriculum over concerns about sexualized topics. Jennifer Wiersma is one of the school board members who voted against the curriculum, and Jennifer joins us now. Thank you so much for being here. What is the issue with the curriculum being pushed by Gavin Newsom?
Good morning, Todd. Well, let me first say that I represent just one perspective of the board, but thousands of constituents that elected me to protect their children and curate curriculum. So with this fine, it is definitely an egregious overreach. It's outside his jurisdiction and his purview as governor, and the voters feel like they are being attacked.
So what's the problem with the books in question?
So when I started the curriculum process, I was looking for 3 things: a robust curriculum that focused on history, not social studies issues, but geography and civics. We were looking for parental involvement. We also wanted to have guardrails in place so that when it comes to some controversial historical figures of activism, that we questioned the educational suitability and made a wise decision. So we have been going through this process being very careful not to rubber stamp adopted curriculum by the state, but to say what's best for our community and then make the decision.
One of the things that
it's just crazy, you know, it's just crazy. And it's like they got fined for that because they didn't want to push, you know, sexualized curriculum, you know, to kids. You know, it's like this just shows you like there's no logic anymore. And you know, in any area of society, it's to the point where we're really bad off mentally, emotionally. Like there's not a spiritual stability to not just our nation but the world now. You know, we're in a very chaotic stage of this, you know, age as we transition into the Aquarian age. And what we are seeing, in my opinion, is there is an aspect of a controlled demolition to this as well, as we see like from governments and world agencies. They are influencing the process, you know, and speeding it along and trying to pick and choose how it happens and the manner in which it happens. This thinning of the herd or purge. But at the same time, this is shifting into, you know, this whole totalitarianism where it's complete and total thought control, you know, complete and total thought control. And it's like they are conditioning everyone to accept like this new normal. Remember, that was like one of the major themes when we really stepped into this era. And I call this the post-COVID era. That's like what all of this is now. And we're not done. We're just getting started, right? We're just getting started. It's like I actually even wonder if real people even see my videos anymore. That's how controlled shit has gotten. I actually wonder, like, do real people even see, you know, content like mine? You know, Do they block the IP addresses and, scrub, stuff like this, like they've scrubbed everything else that they don't want us to be educated about or don't want us to be able to weigh in on or have an opinion about when it comes to the things that are affecting our society and our world. Now, these narratives too, you got to think a lot of them, if we do see them, if we are fed them, then it's always 1000% of the time politically motivated, and there's an agenda behind that too, because it's problem, reaction, solution, right? Where they're setting up the stage to bring in, some new oversight for, the control and manipulation of the masses. It's fucked up, And the end game, population control. First, they'll ban cash payments over £3,000. And then the limit will be reduced to 600. Then cash will be illegal altogether. Get ready for the central bank digital currency. The ban on cash payments over £3,000. That's fucking crazy. It's really crazy. Where they're now banning cash payments in other countries. Do you often pay large amounts in banknotes? The government intends a ban on cash payments for amounts over £3,000. This ban applies to traders, professional or commercial buyers, and vendors of goods. They're not allowed to avoid this amount by making several smaller payments in banknotes. This way, it should be harder to launder illegal, dirty money. And the truth is, it's got nothing to do with laundering money. They always want to dress it up as some type of, form of protection, right? If it's ever in the name of safety and security, you're getting screwed, flat out, right? And we've seen this in every aspect of our world, That's why we have all the false flag events and shit like that. It's like, if it's guns, then it's, that way you can't protect yourself against tyrannical government, but it's in the name of that type of violence. And then with this, they say, oh, well, we don't want to allow them to launder money, but the truth is they don't want you to even not be taxed on a single penny. And they want to have access to cut off your funds and your access to money to survive if you go against them. You understand? Right? So with digital transactions, as we move further into the agenda, and I do believe we will be eventually tied in, like we see in China, to some form of a social credit scoring system. And it's like, people like myself, I could only imagine how low my social credit score is. And that would, then determine what type of jobs and employment you could get. Then once, or whether you're allowed to participate in anything, whether you're allowed to participate in voting, whether you're allowed to participate in money, right? And this reminds you of the mark of the beast. And that's why so many people seen the whole C-19 thing as that, mark on the right hands and the foreheads, That is your spiritual antenna, your pineal gland. That is the magnetic pole of your body. And that graphene is magnetic as well. And that's, where it went, right? To destroy that spiritual magnet, the third temple, right? And then we've talked about the prophetical things about this as well. When you see the abomination of desolation, and that's what that was the abomination of desolation. And now you see the masses completely, I believe, completely under control, all that have been influenced by that. And now, if you're not a part of, one of the groups that are doing this, or you're not tied in a particular way, or you're not one of the victims of these narratives, then they're slowly but surely icing you out of the whole entire system altogether, to not allow you to participate, to be able to cut you off. And that's what they've done to a lot of people. Myself included, financially, on the monetary side, I've been attacked so much, for doing this, to where it's completely like destroyed, you know, my business, my, you know, my welfare, my well-being, to, you know, and that's because they don't want people to be able to perpetuate truth. They don't want people to look like they can still make it if they go against the machine, right? It's like if you stand up and you speak out, they always attack, you know, you and your finances, because that's how they can get you to starve out. That's how they can get you to capitulate. You can't grow if you're not able to promote. You can't, you see what I'm saying? You can't build around that if you don't have the means to do so. Shit, you can't live, you can't survive. So you're forced to do one or two things. You're forced to self-censor and capitulate to whatever the agenda is. That way you can still participate in society and at least appear halfway normal. You know, or you're forced to figure it out off-grid, basically, at this point, you know, and to be demonized. And, you know, you see, especially in big cities, how many fucking homeless people there are now. It's like, I have a feeling we're going to see this continue to increase, you know, homeless problems and all of that, you know, because they don't want anyone to even be allowed to participate or to give a glimmer of hope that if you stand up against the narrative, you'll have success. You know, there's power in numbers, and knowledge is power. So if they take away that knowledge, or discourage that knowledge, or punish that knowledge, there damn sure can't be any community formed around that knowledge. So there's no power in people and numbers. They've got you isolated. That's why they do that to every one of the people. That's what the whole targeting individuals thing is about. You know, these committees that they create in the federal government through the Freedom of Information Act and all of that to go after you. They don't have to inform you that they've labeled you a domestic terrorist. And then they'll go after you, you know, find out all the dirt on you and try to discredit and defame and attack you and all of that. And it's because they don't want you to, you know, pick up steam, you know, and encourage others, you know, to do the same, to speak out, you know, to tap in, you know. So it's pretty fucked up agenda. That's where we're at. A lot of people don't even believe it's real or genuine. You know, try to tell most people that, you know, they censor you and stuff. You know, they just think that that just don't go on. It's really wild. You know, it's really wild, especially all the evidence that we've seen. I wonder if there's anybody home, you know, upstairs on these people that have, you know, been poisoned by the system like that. I know it's a spiritual war, and I know it's like at a spiritual level is where the battle takes place, but also at the same time there is something biological to it as well. We're, you know, we're multifaceted beings, so our biology, you know, connects us to the ethers because we have a physical vehicle. So it's like if they attack that physical vehicle, then you can't pick up the signal, you know, the God signal, so to speak. And if you can't pick up the God signal, then you can't pick up that frequency, that awareness. You don't have access to that higher level of information. So you're not aware of what's taking place or the reality around you or, you know, any of that. And we're at a wild point because, you know, and it's like, as we witness like the controlled demolition of everything, you do see this natural polarization taking place where the few people that are truly awakening to all of this, and there are some. There's a lot more that think they're awake and aware than there really are. You know, it's just kind of become somewhat, you know, trendy, or it's become a niche, basically. You know, so there's that, the fake wokeness and all of that shit. But then there are real people that actually are stepping out of the box and actually are seeing the entire illusion for what it is. Because I promise you guys, the whole fucking thing is a sham. Like your entire world and reality around you is false. It's a false paradigm, a false reality, a false illusion. And truth is, it's a mirror reflection or a projection of, our mental perception. So, as we're having this illusion reinforced on us, like that becomes solidified or crystallized as our reality. And we become restricted. We become bonded to this world, to this system, and I believe that's what a lot of the whole purpose was for tagging everybody with that, right, was to lock them into a particular frequency where they could receive signals from the satellites and, whatever, to be more easily controlled. And yes, there was certain side effects that thinned down a lot of them as well. And I don't think we've seen the end of it. I think it's going to continue, and I think it goes way deeper than what most people know. And I strongly encourage people, watch my videos on BitChute. Watch my videos on Rumble. Back when all this was first starting and before it happened, I broke down piece by piece, step by step, what was actually taking place and how the process worked. I can't get into it on the public platforms now for obvious reasons. But, it's something very important that people really do need to understand, that they are engineering society, socially engineering us, but it's like way deeper than just, how we, our thoughts and our political beliefs. It's actually modifying our genetics too, to create slave races out of who does survive. Those they deem worthy enough to be a slave of the system, and it is the shift into the transhumanist agenda, as we watch ourselves merge with machine in a way, but it's more of like merging with a systemic form of control through technology. It's not like you're going to become RoboCop or any shit like that. You're not going to get any cool fucking privilege out of merging with the machines. Perhaps maybe some people with a lot of money or something, as it progresses, can attain some insane level or ability to bring in data and information through their own psychic Wi-Fi, and they may be able to access their own version of immortality some way, or copy their consciousness or whatever, right? Or designer babies, create superhumans that way. But I promise you, it's not any of us, right? It's not you and I. Everything that is designed for the people is designed for their, their destruction, at least inevitably. Even if it's not for your immediate death or destruction, it's going to either, sterilize you, it's going to, retard you in some way, or your growth and development, or alter you in such a way that there's no coming back from that. There's no coming back from that. And you're going to pass that gene on, those traits on, those thoughts, and, all of that on to the generations behind you, if you're even able to procreate. That's given you haven't fallen for all of the different agendas that discourage actual reproduction or fertility. So it's like that's a lot of ifs there, and that's a lot of different ways there. Remember, the goal is to bring the population to under 500 million. Now, 9 billion, 8 billion people on the planet, that's a massive, massive decrease. A massive decrease. And I don't think people like you and I are going to make the cut. I think more so we're used as examples to keep the rest of the sheep in line. It's like, it's what I hate about, like Christianity and the whole cross symbolism, the crucifix. It's like They tack Jesus' ass up on that cross to make an example out of him. It's like you go against the system, you know, we will crucify you. You know. And I even believe that in the Kabbalion, right, the Hermetic principles, they talk about this as well, right? It's written by the 3 initiates, and they go into those that try to cast their pearls before swine, you know, and enlighten the masses and share the mysteries with the profane and all of that, that the same people you're trying to help will be yelling, crucify him, crucify him. You know, it's because they don't understand or get it. You know, they're defending the very machine that has enslaved and imprisoned them, you know, in their spirit and their mind. It's sad to see. And it's like when you see the movie The Matrix, Morpheus, right? He's talking to Neo and he says, like, they'll die to defend, you know, the very machine that's got them prisoners, taking them captive. It's the worst form of Stockholm Syndrome you can imagine, because it's like these people have learned to love their captors. You know, they believe they're being protected by the very people who are abusing them. You know, they believe they get their freedom from the very people who are enslaving them. And with cancel cultures and things like that, they use the guise of political correctness and social justice as the grounds, which dangerous disinformation and fake news, incredible news sources, which was all perpetuated by the Trump regime, in case you forgot. Isn't it funny how all that spins back around on us every time he does some fuck shit? They then, you know, use that to like criminalize anything going against it as well. So it's like we got to really get hip to these things and really get slick. And that, you know, Google sperm count 2045. I will actually do that. Let's do that. Fertility nutritionist Raquel Monroy warns that sperm levels among men have more than halved in the last 50 years, and following current projections, sperm count is set to reach 0 in 2045. That is fucking scary, according to a leading scholar of reproduction health, Shanna Swan. You have got me fucked up, bro. Like, for real, I did not know that. When it comes to fertility, the onus often falls on women when a couple struggle to conceive. But a new, fascinating Channel 4 show is set to raise eyebrows as experts say Spermageddon is on its way, with men set to be infertile by 2045. Jeez, man. Wow. Wow. I'm about to share this one with you guys if you want to check this out, or share it with the naysayers and all of that. You guys know how people are. They're like, oh, where did you find that? Where did you get your information? Is that a credible source? Da, 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 you know, so it's like, anybody's going to hit you with that shit. You know, thank you so much for that, Graceful Heart. That's awesome. That's awesome. I really appreciate you guys. I have the greatest community, so I do want to put that out there. I genuinely appreciate you guys. I love you so much, man. Those of you who have stuck around and, you know, you do things like that. You know, you contribute information and you share what people need too. Like, it helps me to be better at this, and those of you who support me. It's like I couldn't do it without you guys, so I just want to say thank you to all of you. It's a really, we got a tough road to walk, guys. Like, I'm not lying, like, we do. It's not going to be a fun road all the time either. One of the things that I genuinely believe, though, and that kind of gets me through all of the shit, is that I feel that through enlightenment and awareness and knowledge and truth, that's our key to freedom. That's our key to freedom. It's illumination. That's how we're released from the prison, of perception. It's by making ourselves more aware, empowering ourselves. I only use this stuff, the news and all of that, to show you how the narrative works, to show you how it's done, right? How it's effective. Not to reinforce any of it as real or true. Matter of fact, I believe none of it is real or true. Just my opinion. I believe this is all what someone else is trying to get you to believe what reality is like. Right? They want you to latch on to the idea of humanity being this parasite, or humanity being weak and weak-minded, or divided and separated, and this plague on the earth that's anti-human, flat out. And they want you to buy into this narrative of being powerless, right? Being hopeless. And they even want to try to get you to gravitate towards being some fucking martyr too. It's like, oh, well, the Bible says God disciplines the one he loves. The Bible says they would persecute us, so you must not be doing something right if they're not ruining your fucking life, right? Well, I must be doing a lot of shit right, because I get attacked all the time, but the truth is, the attacks only go as far as we allow them to. As much as we believe they have the power to attack. As much as we believe that we're vulnerable to attack. Right? They're only as effective as we believe they are too. We truly, genuinely have a direct influence over our world and our reality. And the way that we interpret this information is going to make like this, it's going to, create, it's going to create how it projects out on the other side. So it's like, it all starts in the ether first. And that's why technology mimics creation, because it's a direct attempt to influence the ethers, And I heard something. There's like a new form of essentially psychic gifts. We're strong though. Yeah, we're strong as fuck. We're strong as fuck. If we're still alive, if you're still alive right now, you're really strong. If you're still alive right now, you're really strong. It's like fighting the good fight is understanding that no man is your enemy. There is no enemy but yourself. The government's not your enemy. Money is not the enemy. The devil is not the enemy. It's you. It's always been you. But you're also the hero in your own story as well. And when we are awakened or reach enlightenment or Christed, that anointing, makes us that savior in our own world, in our own life. And that crucifixion takes place within us. That's the process of dying to the physical world and reality and its limiting beliefs. It's limiting beliefs because those beliefs are what are keeping you caged in. We talk about this all the time, lack mentality and all that. And what's fucked up is people don't, whenever I get on those every time I do any esoteric or occulted videos, I got about half the audience. Anytime I do some shit where I really say what I think or feel, half the audience. anytime I try to, and I feel like tarot is incredibly empowering too, because it allows you to divine the energies around you and maybe make different choices, on things that are playing out in your world. It's like every time I do something that I feel actually matters or is actually real or true, I don't see a response from it, to reinforce that. It's all the fluff and the bullshit that gets all the views. It's all the fluff and the bullshit that, gets the positive response. And I wonder, is that just the AI system's way of, giving me feedback as a reward? Like, hey, the algorithms will push nonsense, so here's your reward, right? Good positive feedback. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And we look here. The need for chaos is linked to the sharing of conspiracy theories. Study finds. And, people can think I'm a fucking sellout all they want. The reason I've gotten away from this stuff, guys, is flat out, it's destroyed my livelihood by doing these kind of videos, and it's destroyed, what I've taken so long and worked so hard to build, and, all of that. So, it's not that I don't think that, it's important to talk about this, but I feel like I just kind of explained why I lean more towards doing the spiritual work now and the occult and esoteric videos now, because I feel like that's going to help you at a way deeper level, make you way stronger, for the war that is waged within ourselves, because that's where it starts and that's where it ends. New research suggests the psychological concept known as the need for chaos plays a bigger role than partisanship and ideology in the sharing of conspiracy theories on the internet. The study, published in Research in Politics, indicates that individuals driven by a desire to disrupt and challenge established systems are more inclined to share conspiracy theories. And I just want to state, I'm not driven to disrupt and challenge the established systems. I am driven to disrupt the caged-in control of my own reality and people around me. The attacks on us for not going along with what everybody else is going along with. Not just staying silent, when we see some shit that's fucking us over and our brothers and sisters and all of that, It's the desire to enlighten and awaken people to their true potential and awesome power that resides within each and every one of us, because we're all divine beings. We all have that God power in us and have abilities to create beautiful, magnificent things and make great, wonderful changes in the world. And it's hard, because it appears as if you're just, you're being a contrarian, and it's like you just want to go against the grain, and, but it's not that, it's not that. I do believe that there is a necessity for government and all that stuff in its own right, but I also believe that when we watch it try to devour the very people it's supposed to serve, and enslave the very people it's supposed to serve, then, we need to fine-tune that shit a little bit. And we can't fine-tune it if nobody understands how the shit works, right? If nobody even has access to the information to understand the nature of how it works. Or if nobody even understands that they're enslaved to start with, right? So it's like quite a few reasons for it. The study was authored by Christina Farhart, but This is fucking wild, man. Although earlier work found a positive relationship between the need for chaos and sharing, and that a need for chaos superseded partisan motivations for sharing, these studies did not assess how the need for chaos affected sharing when pitted against a direct measure of conspiracy theory belief. Testing these mechanisms together is important because people who believe conspiracy theories might be more willing to share them online. But belief is not a necessary condition for sharing. To conduct the study, the researchers administered an original survey in December 2018 using the Lucid platform, which recruits online survey respondents in line with U.S. Census demographics. Yeah, that's fucking crazy, y'all, you know? That is crazy. The need for chaos is why people do that. I do believe there is some of that. Back when I first started doing this stuff, I won't lie to you. You know, there is kind of a biological reaction to us too. You know, we talk about this with like the dopamine on Facebook and shit, and people get all pumped up. They get their adrenaline going from, you know, the fear and a lot of the fear porn and doom and gloom and all that, you know. And a lot of people have this self-righteous shit going on from the Bible thumping stuff as well. So there is some self-serving things to this, you know, no doubt, right? But there's also a need for, not chaos, I guess, but a need for submission for the people that are lying and pouring, you know, fluff up your ass, you know? So it's like, who's doing better? And this is, you know, kind of what gets me screwed up on all of this is when people start trying to take, you know, one position or the other, you know, saying like, oh, well, my way's right and your way's wrong. So it's like, if you're entitled to run, you know, reality your way, then allow me to run my reality my way, you know? It's like, what's good for you is also good for me and vice versa. But they don't believe that. They believe you're peasants and you're submissive to the system and you have no right to challenge or question. You know, UK carries out the first ever womb transplant as sister donates uterus. It's perhaps a sign of how deep into dystopia our planet has gone that rather than seeing this as some kind of stellar achievement, one's mind instead can't help but dread how it will be used in the decaying West for sinister purposes. The United Kingdom has made medical history with doctors carrying out the country's first womb transplant. And I wonder if the trans agenda or whatever, like, what is this going to, where are we going with this? It's crazy. Surgeons at the Churchill Hospital in Oxford successfully transplanted a sister's womb to her 34-year-old sibling in an operation that lasted 9 hours, 20 minutes on Sunday, according to local media. The operation to remove the donor's womb lasted more than 8 hours. Quote, it was incredible. I think it was probably the most stressful week in my surgical career, but also unbelievably positive. Wow. That is fucking wild. The donor and recipient are over the moon. Just over the moon. In order to conceive, she stored her embryos with the goal of undergoing in vitro fertilization treatments later this year, but her sister, 40, was willing to donate her uterus, having given birth to two of her own 2 children, facilitating a womb transplant procedure. That is crazy as fuck. I mean, it is kind of cool, though, that a person was able to give life because, you know, her sister gave up her womb. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but we will probably see this be perverted for some, you know, some weirdo screwy shit at a later date. But, you know, at this point, it is what it is, right? You know, it's pretty crazy. Really crazy. And it's like, we really are scientifically going to some crazy places, man. You know, the super blue moon, which is yesterday, the biggest and brightest of the year. This week, a quirky mixture of science, hyperbole, and folklore will cause millions of people to go outside and stare at the sky. The blue moon will be the biggest and brightest moon of the year and will rise on the night of Wednesday, August the 30th. And, you know, When these moons take place, guys, and this is according to modern folklore, the moon is blue. It's the second full moon in the calendar month. And it'll be 15%. More gorgeous than the average moon. We already seen this, but this will affect us 3 days before, 3 days after the actual full moon, and this is a time for ritual, right? For people trying to manifest beginnings and endings and, transmuting particular energies within their life. So this can be used for positive or negative. I believe that anytime we see this happen, they always associate this with witches and shit like that, like only bad people or something somehow use the moon. I do moon manifestations. I have. But yeah, we do see these also used to pump up narratives and shit as well. So, I mean, there's that. Or to occult and hide things that we probably would want to be exposed as well. I wonder who is the mysterious buyer and where is the radioactive gas going to end up. Last Friday, the Solothurn bankruptcy office in Switzerland sold 20 tons of radioactive gas from a company in Olten, Switzerland at an auction. The unknown buyer paid $17 million or $19.3 million US dollars for 20 tons of uranium hexafluoride, a radioactive gas used in the process of uranium enrichment. That is strange. That is strange. Somebody buying all of that gas for uranium enrichment, it only makes you wonder, is this like got something to do with nuclear weapons, and is this going to be somehow used as part of an agenda to demonize some fucking country for developing weapons, which would be an excuse to create sanctions and start a war and, do what they do every fucking time, right? So, you can have your opinions on that as well. Romania, gas station hit by huge explosions, and a lot of people have a lot of different beliefs on this. There's so many more things that are coming in this agenda. We're just now getting to what I believe is going to become everything, and we know that there's this electrification agenda taking place, and automation agenda taking place, and all of this, right? We're just now at the cusp of that. So there's going to continuously be attacks on things like gas and, vehicles of that nature. And I do believe that something just came out too where they're talking about putting kill switches on all vehicles manufactured after 2036 or some shit like that. That way they can remotely shut off vehicles by the manufacturer or the police, as well. So, this is part of the Brave New World, right? Us stepping into this new age. Remember, the Aquarian Age is also about technological advances. It's technology. It's about society, social, collective as well. So the re-engineering of our social structure for the collective to a more technological, controlled system, it kind of makes sense, on the inverse, right? Because it is still, everything's still going to have the dualistic nature to it, and so on the negative side, we see it used for, warped ass shit, systems of control, and to push us into technological control, which is automated control. I believe there'll come a time where, AI is deciding, who goes to jail and who doesn't, and who can buy and who can sell, and all of that. We're just now, walking across the threshold for all of those things. So, it's pretty wild, guys. Pretty wild. Let me guess, it's going to be named Elysium and has a great wall with automated guns and cannons, and nobody with a net worth of less than $10 million will be allowed to enter. A mystery company backed by Silicon Valley billionaires has purchased tens of thousands of acres of land for more than $800 million to build a new city near San Francisco. Silicon Valley elite revealed as buyers of $800 million of land to build a utopian city. How about that? That is fucking wild. And this San Francisco, I believe, is right next to like Bohemian Grove and shit. So interesting, right? 55,000 acres in Northern Cali. The land has been revealed. The group Flannery Associates, backed by the cohort of Silicon Valley investors, quietly purchased $800 million worth of agricultural and empty land, the New York Times has reported. Its goal is to build a utopian new town that will offer its thousands of residents reliable public transportation and urban living, all of which would operate using clean energy. The project was spearheaded by Jan Schramek, a 36-year-old former trader for the investment banking firm Goldman Sachs. It's backed by prominent Silicon Valley investors, including Michael Moritz, venture capitalists, blah, blah, blah. So, a lot of these are popping up now, you know? A lot of these are popping up now, where they're now creating these entire, you know, smart cities. And on one hand, it's like, it sounds cool, you know, to have the luxury of technology, and on the other side of that, it's like, it's taking away our autonomy, you know, it's taking away our freedom of movement and all of that by having only, you know, city transportation and, you know, things of that nature. You know, it's restricted movement and very compact living as well. So, you know, we're to the point now, like I said, where it's less and less of the human experience, you know, or human control. And it just shows you, it's like, because they don't trust us to make right decisions. They don't trust us with our freedom of movement. They don't want to allow us to have that freedom, right? Because with that freedom, you know, we could decide on whether or not we choose to do something and go along with, you know, anything, right? So it's like they can go ahead and stifle any form of resistance by restricting your movement, restricting your availability to energy, the way that you're living, your access to all the necessities in life, especially money, you know, employment, everything, your education. It's like they got you by the balls, you know, they got you by the balls. And if you don't have the right fucking bloodline, if you don't have, you know, you weren't born into the right family, then you probably won't even have an opportunity to even get close to an education that would, you know, break you out of that caste, you know. So it's pretty fucked up, guys. Just saying, you know, we're really at a weird time. Quantum yin-yang holographic images shows two photons being entangled in real time. That is really crazy. Really crazy. One hell of a coordinated effort. Greece wildfires, 79 people arrested for arson. Pretty crazy. Brain reading devices allow paralyzed people to talk using their thoughts. Now this is wild, dude. I wanted to look this up, and I will... let's see if I can pull this up over here real fast. I forget what it's called. It's like clairvoyance, but using technology. I think it's Psy or something. Psychic technology manipulation, clairvoyant remote viewing. We'll get into this in just a second. We'll go back to this first. Where's the article at here? One second, guys. Let me close down this. Right here. Let's take a look. Avatar and synthesis block. I don't know if you guys can see this at home.
I will meet you there.
Do not be afraid to ask me questions. Wow.
Do not be afraid to ask me questions.
And the more connected we come to technology, wow.
Great to see you again.
Yeah, the more connected we become to technology, the more integrated it is in our society, and with our biology too. The more we'll be able to utilize it, as a tool for our advantage, with things like communication and stuff like that as well. But if we can use it in a way to help, we can also use it in a way to hurt or harm. And that's kind of always what gets me when it comes to these kind of things, especially with the brain technology and shit like that. Because not only, if they're able to have the ability to read your thoughts through technology, and they can, is there no, it's like the thought police. There's no fucking privacy, for one. And the ability to read it would also most definitely give them the ability to control it, right? So to control, restrict, or manipulate the thoughts of a person as well. It's fucking dangerous, when we step into that kind of thing, And it's like we're already to the point of that. It's like sometimes I wonder, and I'm not lying, I wonder if we're already there. It's like the world has changed so much, guys. It's changed so much since I started doing this. I often wonder if there is anybody with free will left, or I wonder if there is anybody who's not completely restricted and tied into this AI system left at all. Like, I feel like there could be nobody left. I feel like the last guy on Earth sometimes, and I know I'm probably not. But this hive mind deal that we have going on, through frequency and technology, and I believe that, all that C-19 shit was how this came about. Like I said, watch the videos on BitChute, and you'll see how the process, I break it all down. It makes me wonder, and I've seen it, how people are completely unaware sometimes that they're being used or manipulated by this system. And what's operating the system? Is it an entity or an energy? Or is it literally like a group of people that are flipping the fucking switches? Is like, it makes me wonder a lot of times, because it feels like we are losing free will. Like the absence of free will is almost here on planet Earth. And it's really crazy. It's really crazy to see this living cage being built around each and every one of our consciousness, our minds, our bodies, our emotions. It makes you wonder if there's any true freedom of expression or freedom of thought or any of that left. Like, is anybody even capable anymore? And if they are capable, what's holding them back, from, why are they not, jumping into things to kind of like push the other side of the scales, towards human expansion? Because I feel like it's not to say that we can't expand with technology. I love technology, and it's a tool. So I believe, like any tool, it's neutral. You can decide to make it good or evil depending on your purpose and intent and all that. It can save lives or take lives. It can protect or it can attack, depending on the will of the person operating in behind it, or the entity or whatever. So I feel like we need technology too, because it does make our life better and cooler and all of that. But it's like we also should be developing the human body in a natural way, also, and that should be an area that we're pushing to expand our horizons in also, and grow in also. You know, and you don't see a lot of that. You know, you don't see a lot of, you know, the exploration or tapping into our own unique abilities as human beings, our extrasensory, or our own psychic abilities, right? And our own conscious abilities. It's like, I feel like we have so much more potential than what we've ever even imagined or been told that we have. And we have so much more abilities, you know, and we wouldn't even need technology, you know, if we were pioneering that the way that we have been. You know, technology is what I'm saying. The only time we see it used is usually harnessed as a weapon against the natural, you know, consciousness. It's pretty crazy, you know. Pretty crazy. And keep it going here. I'm trying not to hit everything here. Here, let's move on to the next one. Trump discusses the controversial death of Jeffrey Epstein, which was also another psyop. And if you guys have also seen, you know, a lot of the pictures of what he looked like before and after, that's, you know, that's something maybe you want to check out. But you know, I think it's amazing how this was not explored, you know, in the mainstream. I mean, I know why, but it's like we didn't see any of this, you know. And then the suicided thing and all of that, it's crazy. It's like it shows you this is like a, you know, a true reflection of what the system is like, and you know, what it does to the truth or revelation.
You think it's possible that Epstein was killed?
Oh, sure, it's possible. I mean, I don't really believe. I think he probably committed suicide. He had a life with, you know, beautiful homes and beautiful everything, and he all of a sudden he's incarcerated and not doing very well. I would say that he did, but there are those people. There are many people. I think you're one of them, right? But a lot of people think that he was killed. He knew a lot on a lot of people.
He was killed.
You think so?
I think the closer you look, I'm not a conspiracy person at all. I believe everything I hear. But yeah, the closer you look into it, I mean, the Attorney General of the United States, your Attorney General, clearly lied about the Epstein death.
Yeah,
he was.
Why? He was certainly. It wasn't well done. They had no cameras. They had no anything. Everybody was sleeping, and you know, a case could be made. Look, I'm not going to get involved in it, but I can tell you, a case could be made either way. But
yeah, pretty wild, man. Pretty wild, and just kind of shows you the power of what they could do to others, you know, just to be honest. So, inflation is 8%. Who's lying here? Yeah, the prices of, you know, gas, it's to, you know, discourage people from, you know, cars. And I do want to make a couple announcements too while I'm on here tonight. October, I think it's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Micah Dank is having an event in Daytona, Florida, and he invited me to join him. So it's, you know, I need to raise money though, funds to acquire a hotel and you know, fly there and all of that, which will, you know, definitely, because, you know, the support just isn't, you know, what I need it to be at the moment through this. So you know, if anybody wants to sponsor that or donate to the channel, you know, and you would like to see me at Micah Dank's event, and all that, there's going to be, you know, quite a few others, and it's going to be really cool, something really fun. I'd love to do it, but, you know, I'll need, you know, donations from the community to help me be able to do that. So if you guys want to donate and support for that, I'd greatly appreciate it. And then I rescheduled my appearance on the Missing Link. It's in October as well. I want to say October 16th. October 16th, I'll be on The Missing Link with Jesse Howe. So that's coming up. So, just to kind of, throw that out there for anybody that's interested in either one of those. And, they keep the fear and shit going with all of this, right? North Korea's second spy satellite launch fails. And it's like, I have really wondered, and I've had my own theory about the whole satellite thing and the nukes and all of that when it comes to North Korea. I'm not going to go into a whole big spiel about it, but basically, I believe that they're detonating things in low orbit, like for the practice of electromagnetic pulse. That they can't be that goddamn stupid to where they can't even, launch a rocket or anything like that. They've successfully launched a lot of shit. So, some people believe that these satellites were actually shot down, by NATO and all that. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate either way. But as we move technologically wise into like 6th generation silent warfare and all of that, you see more and more of like directed energy, EMP and all of those things. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were, maybe something to that effect. Who knows? Who knows? And quite unusual size for a rodent. First ever anti-rat day of action held in Harlem to fight rats the size of crocs. That is fucking crazy. And when it was COVID, there was a non-stop footage publicized of pop-up morgues and bodies bagged on gurneys or laid out for effect. Respect for those who perished didn't stop them then. They used it to advance the cause. Can someone explain one good reason for this? And yeah, isn't that really weird how, they beat you down with bodies and shit like that during COVID, but Maui, they took down every goddamn video that even showed a flame. Out of respect to those who perished, we were asked by Maui County officials to pause on posting on social media and elsewhere new imagery of damaged disaster debris starting now. They are asking for a full stop on disaster imagery going forward. At this time, we have not been asked to take any photos or video down. Our team on the ground is coordinating with the county for further guidance to ensure we remain fully aligned. Cultural sensitivity is of the utmost importance in all our response and recovery activities to this disaster. Pretty insane, really. And it kind of makes you wonder why. Is it strictly for the narrative? That there was no wrongdoing by, any of the powers that be, or they're afraid of some truth being exposed or whatever, or is it something deeper? And I kind of do wonder sometimes if, because we're shifting into like this new energy, and this is just kind of, a thought, and you can tell me what you think in the comments section. I'd love to hear it, actually. Does anyone think that there could be a possibility that a lot of the cancel culture and censorship and deplatforming and political correctness and all of these things is an attempt, and I'm going way out on a limb on this one, is an attempt by those who have influence to push humanity in a positive direction, and not manifest these things because we are becoming more powerful in our manifestations, right? And we can manifest faster and stronger and all of that. We're becoming far more psychically gifted and aware of our psychic abilities and powers. And that's just on the whole, right? Like the worldwide, the energies are changing. That's a fact. And we're evolving, also fact. We're becoming almost like fucking superhuman when it comes to our consciousness and our spirit and our minds especially. Just like we've seen the genetic modification of food and the use of frequency and technology to restrict thought and things like that, and then the graphene and all that to lock people into an energetic frequency psychically, to not allow people to be able to vibrate over a certain frequency and lock them into a paradigm, into a reality, into the machine, right? To lock them into the matrix and its control. Are we seeing also said system, because they're aware of a change in reality now, because we're now truly in the Aquarian age, and things are really shifting for real, and humanity's consciously evolving and all of that. That's why the awakening and awareness is taking place. Just like they said at the end of the Mayan long count would happen. We're here now. Is this a attempt to control that consciousness expansion, because they beat us up with so much negativity and trauma for so fucking long that, and we're so underdeveloped, like spiritually and emotionally and shit, that if we have that much power with our consciousness and with the knowledge and all of that, that we would abuse it like they have, and maybe bring destruction to the entire earth, by manifesting terrible things, by spewing out terrible things and having this stronger magnetism to us now, this stronger ability to create now, and that's just like me, spitballing some shit out there. I don't believe that this is a benevolent agenda. I also believe that it's to cover up, what's actually taking place, this culling down of all these different people in all these different ways, and that's the negative side of things. That's the negative side of shit. Which I would love to move to Israel, by the way, if I could. I feel like that's probably one of the only safe places on earth. But it's just a thought. I do believe a lot of times, and I've told you guys this, like, who I believe the hidden hand to be. I don't believe it's the government or, secret clubs and all of that necessarily. I believe those particular groups may have access to certain knowledge that allows them to tap into that. But I believe it's those who are able to raise their vibration, their frequency, and open up their consciousness and awareness to have the ability energetically, dimensionally, right, to exist in a higher space, right, a higher realm, if you will, and access to higher divine information, right, divine knowledge, and it gives them power over the matrix like Christ had, right? Christ could do miracles because he had broken through, right, the matrix. It no longer held him consciously or spiritually. And I feel like those who know the secrets that are occulted and hidden and have known for a long time, these brotherhoods, these orders of people have been directly influencing humanity by doing this, because they're that powerful, just knowing and able to tap into that, right? So by understanding how it works, and we've talked about this in the past too, it's almost like you can be a time traveler in essence, right? By injecting stimuli, right? A problem, reaction, solution. Injecting stimuli to get a desired result or outcome, So if you inject a bunch of evil and darkness and oppression and all of this, what happens? Because it doesn't feel good vibrationally, because it's inflicting pain and suffering and oppression and all of that, and stifling knowledge and all of that, right? To the masses, at a subconscious level, we will polarize in the opposite direction and gravitate more towards enlightenment, awareness, and peace, and love, and expansion, and unity, all right? As a natural result. So those who are illuminated, if you will, this hidden hand that moves throughout the shadows, was using our shadow aspect to amplify that negative shadow collectively, so he would see it, face it, polarize in the opposite direction, which would be enlightenment, the light, right? And that's what's taking place now. Now we're already in this shift where there is this mass awakening, mass awareness, and it's like it almost seems like that's what the calling is. It's like this systemic eradication of all of those who are not in alignment with that future. You know? All of those who weren't smart enough to see the warning signs on a lot of the stuff they were putting in their bodies and shit like that. You know? They're now bagged and tagged by the jabs and all of that, like, you know. And the censoring is now controlling our ability of mass manifestation through collectives and stuff. And it's like, if you're not part of the groups, then if you have influence, you are an influencer, and you're, you know, outside of the control consciously. Shadow banning is really like, in censoring and canceling is their only tool to keep people that they haven't deemed safe with that knowledge or ability or power, if you will, to have, you know, free reign to go influence and create what they truly desire or want. You know, it's like, oh, is this not in line with our agenda? Well, we're gonna shut it down. You know, we're going to shut this guy down. He's not in our agenda. He hasn't joined our club. You know, so that means he's not pushing the same agenda as we are, because he doesn't know what the agenda is, right? So he can't be in alignment with it if he's not a part of it, and all of that. And so, you know, and I feel like that's probably how they justify, you know, silencing people and things like that. It's like, you know, you always hear the saying when it comes to, you know, Masonic stuff and all of that, like the greater good, right? For the greater good, the good of humanity. And I do believe, too, that at its base level, like at its root, that these fraternal orders and brotherhoods and illumination and all that, like, it truly was designed, I feel like, for people that are, you know, that are moral, you know? It doesn't mean that everybody participates in that, doesn't have vices and all of that. But if you look at a lot of the rules, you know, in some of those orders, in particular in Freemasonry, right? It sounds like a very, very moral code. You know, these people are not, they're basically forbade to screw their brothers and sisters over, you know? And it's like, are we trying to, and I feel like we could be, you know, mass indoctrinate people into something of that nature, but by process of elimination, they know a lot of people can't conform to that because they don't have the conscious ability, they're not going to put in the inner work and all of that, right? And they've been genetically modified to maybe where they can't biologically turn the switch on. So it's like, you thin down the population to the elite genetics that survived and evolved through all of this, and you've created this vibrational reality in the new higher dimension that's free of the pollution of the old world, you know? And it's completely on autopilot by this egregore you've created called AI. So it's like fully operating on itself, and you're also tied into it too, and we're operating as this hive consciously. I should do a video on this, a standalone video on this on its own, because it's really an interesting concept when you think about it. And then you can look at it from either way. It could be like, is this what saves the world, or is this what destroyed humanity? Like, which one is it? Did we have an option or a choice? You know, could we have went the natural route and done the same thing, or done even better? You know, what are the repercussions from going the artificial route? So, I'm just, you know, and I'm interested. Honestly, I really am. You know? So, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, either way, on the system. It says, we're witnessing the first stages of civilization's collapse. Will our own elites perform any better than the rulers of Chaco Canyon, the Mayan heartland, and Viking Greenland? And it's really interesting. You know, I think that's a good question to ask. It says in his 2005 bestseller, Collapse, How Societies Choose to Fail or Succeed. Geographer Jared Diamond focused on past civilizations that confronted severe climate shocks, either adapting and surviving or failing to adapt and disintegrating. Among those were the Puebloan culture of Chaco Canyon, New Mexico, the ancient Mayan civilization of Mesoamerica, and the Viking settlers of Greenland. Such societies, having achieved great success, imploded when their governing elites failed to adopt new survival mechanisms to face radically changing climate conditions. And it's like, is this what's happening right now? You know, what I just explained. Is it because our governments and our powers that be understand what's happening on an energetic level, on a conscious level, and they're like, yo, we don't want to fucking go down in smoke like the last fucking 10 million end of eras in humanity. Think about it. We've had all these destructions on the earth. How did they happen? How did they happen? If we manifest our own reality, if everything here is a phantom, a projection, an illusion of this light and sound and this frequency that's being vibrated and projected through the prism that we call the electromagnetic field, and we are nothing but an amalgamation of our consciousness being projected into here, then we have total control, especially collectively, and we're all connected to this oneness we call spirit or consciousness. In these shifts, and these shifts happen, at the end of these ages, right, where we shift to new planetary energy. The vibration of the planet changes. We adjust to the new star or the new era that we're in, the new elements that coincide with that, and everything on the planet mutates, evolves. Some shit gets wiped out. Destruction comes, and very few survive. And you guys know the stories. Right? This happens over and over and over again. Rinse and repeat. This is humanity, and we forget all of our fucking history. We got giant goddamn pyramids sitting behind us, and we don't know who built them, where they came from, and all of that. And only by the time it's over again have we reached the conscious point to even understand what we built in the last goddamn era. You know what I mean? And reach the technological point that we were in then. And it reminds you of the story of Atlantis and all of this too, where this end of this cycle comes and consciousness raises, and because we haven't been schooled properly on how to manifest and how to work with the energies of our reality in ourselves, right? Humanity, because it's been beaten down and traumatized by the ones who did know, because they abused their power to drain the masses for all they fucking had and rule over them. And they wanted to keep them stupid and dumb and numb to it all. That way they could never escape that prison. Then when they finally have taken off the leashes, so to speak, and we're all free to truly, manifest things, well, then chaos comes, because we're all, drawn to violence and, all of the base things and distorted things, and it brings this destruction down because we bring it down on our fucking selves by being evil sacks of shit, basically. And it's because we've been programmed to be, because it kept us easily more controllable by destroying ourselves, And these people have profited off of our self-destruction for how long, guys? And I feel like they, as in the powers that be, they understand this, and they didn't want that to happen again this time. It's like, have we finally outgrown our own destruction? I hope so. I hope we've evolved past that. And now as we come into enlightenment, and we've seen the thinning out of people already, Most people will never escape the conscious reality that we're in now. It's like putting a governor on their consciousness, that way they can't step past a certain frequency level and actually, supersede the matrix itself and do any real damage. You're still easily controllable through a time when nobody would be able to be controlled. That's why there was such an urgency to what was taking place around the world. That's why there was such a long, drawn-out plan and preparation for all of this before it came about. That's why all the world and the governments and all of that participated in it as well. They all understood. And this was the great secret. This is disclosure, if you will, right? This is what you've been having hidden from you the whole time. And the illusion of freedom actually becomes a reality as we shift into a higher state, as we step into a new paradigm, if you will, right? And if you're not schooled properly for this paradigm, it will destroy you because your training wheels have been taken off, spiritually. And it's like, are we ready for the training wheels to be taken off? Well, it don't matter because they are now. Right? So the automation stuff is like this attempt at maintaining it all. This self-maintenance of the system to keep it going. That way it doesn't implode and collapse again like it did before. And out of this, there is, I believe, the expectation of a utopia. A utopia. One where we finally did realize our potential as human beings. And we finally did see one another as a universal family. It would be very beautiful. And a lot of people believe it's not even possible. But I do believe it is possible, and I do believe that would be the goal of all of it. And the means to justify the end, it's the sacrifice, of the old world. The sacrifice of our old selves, collectively. We go through this process and illumination, too. When we're seeking enlightenment, we put ourselves on that cross too, right? We crucify ourselves in the way that we used to think and all of that. And we learn self-mastery, And, it's like Hermes, right? And we always seem depicted as, carrying the lantern. It's because we have to go through our own darkness, our own darkness. To become illuminated. We have to face our own shadow. So everything is so connected, and I've talked about this before. We see it reflected in the heavens, playing out in astrological stories that mimic our consciousness, because everything is manifested out of our consciousness or created out of our divine spark, because we are collectively God. We're all fractals of that creator. That's why you see things like the Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio, all that. That's proof, right? That we have that in us, that eternal in us. And a piece of eternal is still eternal. A fragment of eternal is still eternal. It's like collectively we go through that darkness for illumination as well. And that's kind of what you're seeing right now, facing our own shadow. That's why everything is being revealed now. All of the corruption, all of the secrets, the mysteries of everything is being revealed now. And we're being purged now, collectively. Because to me, the earth is our collective third eye of humanity. And that's why we see things play out, the way that they do. The same thing happens reflected in our body individual level, spiritual level, psychic level, then you see it in collective levels, and, so on and so forth. Because it's infinite reflections of ourself. And we all are one, truthfully. And as this unified kind of hive mind species that we are, there's still this individuality through the lower aspect of self. Our avatar brings us that individuality, or a sense of it at least, which is designed to protect our vehicle so we can grow and expand consciously. That's the whole purpose of the lower self, in my opinion. That's why it's all about I am, you. It's designed to be an ego is made that way, to encase. It's protecting something, which is your spirit, your spark. It has to be selfish to keep you alive. That way you continue to grow and expand while you're down here with the collective selfless part of you. And as we watch things change and shift, it's the metamorphosis of humanity on a collective level. It's the metamorphosis of humanity's spirit. It's actually really cool when you think about it, honestly. And I don't know how many people see it that way. I don't know how many people believe what I believe on all this. I imagine probably not a lot. But I do believe that's what's happening. That's what's, taking place. I feel like I've been going forever tonight, too. The masses fulfill the scripture. My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. Yeah. And you know what? It's hard, guys. It's hard to break that fucking habit of, it's hard to break that habit of the old cycle. The trauma that was inflicted on us in the old cycle. We're conditioned to that. It's hard. I swear to you, it's really hard to step out of that. To not allow that to continue to repeat. It's like a broken fucking record. The same story. That's why nothing new under the sun. It's like we're creating a new ring around Saturn, a new groove in the record. A new magnetic groove, consciously, that we're all riding in, a new orbit. A little closer to the sun, right? A little closer to enlightenment, collectively. And we're doing that now. But you have to reach the frequency to get into that groove, magnetically, energetically. If not, you stay stuck in the old cycle of death, of destruction. We're working our way towards enlightenment and immortality as a species. And at each dimensional level, there is physical change as well, because density changes, right? And different vibrating states. One thing is not as dense as another, depending on the speed that it vibrates. And the higher it goes, the faster it vibrates. The less dense it would be. And that would probably be the reasoning for the transhumanism as well, because I feel like at one point we may not physically be what we are now, even, almost go to like a translucent type of being. Like you look at the first book of Pistis Sophia, and anything it ever talks about transfiguration and shit. It's like shifting into your light body. Your light body. But we have to reach some kind of state of perfection, I guess. Enlightenment. Conscious awareness, frequency, to actually tap into that. Sometimes I wonder if that's what isolates me a lot of times. Like my own inner awareness that we mirror each other, you know, when we're connected. And if we can create bad things, sometimes not on our own behalf, but because of the people we're connected to are creating shit in their life. They're stuck in that old cycle. They're not awakened. They're never getting out of it. Right? They're never getting out of it. They don't have the ability to get out of it. I don't know if they've given it up. I don't know if they're just genetically flawed. I don't know. I don't know if they've been sterilized spiritually to not be able to do so. I don't know, you know. I believe everybody's got a soul and everybody has the potential to do it, but it's like when we get around these, you know, people and vibrate with that energy and get on that frequency by doing what they do and, you know, speaking that language, it's we get into that world, that old paradigm with them, you know. That's why it's so important to be around like-minded people, you know, right vibe, right tribe. It's like how can you find, you know, people that are like you and I, and people that are, you know, like, it's not that easy. Not everybody's vibing really high, and I'm not saying I'm the highest vibe ever. I'm just saying, like, I feel like that's why it's so hard for people like us to relate. And that's why we're, you know, so hated by the world, right? Because they don't perceive the knowledge the way we do. They don't perceive, it don't look the same to them, you know? If we're reflecting back demonic energy and shit, you know, it's like it doesn't look the same to them as it looks to us. They don't perceive it in the same way. They're way down here frequency-wise. So their reality, that's the way they see it. Perceive it and understand it and communicate it. It looks totally different from a different dimension, a different place, consciously. And I've tried to explain that. It's one of the hardest things you can explain. It's like we can all simultaneously exist together, but be in total different realities. And it's crazy to think about it like that. It's like there are a small group of people walking around this earth right now that are already in the new earth. They're already in the new world. The world's already changed for them. It's already ended for them. The old world has. And that's wild. They don't perceive language the same anymore. They don't perceive reality the same anymore. They see the connectedness of it all. They understand their connection to the oneness. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. And I hope, and I feel as if those who are, you know, watch this and stuff like this, and those who gravitate or vibrate or resonate with these things, with this, you know, as a whole, and other things like it, and who are able to do that, they're really special people. Really special people. But it's really hard, you know, to find those people because they're, you know, elect, if you will, a remnant, you know. It's not a large group of us. You know, it hasn't spread that far yet. I don't know if it ever will. I don't know if all the others just die off. What happens? You know, I don't know that. I don't know if anybody does. You know, and that's humbling. Because, you know, our Bibles and religions and sciences and all of that tell us that we do know, and we don't. We don't know shit. And each level I go to through the ascension process is like a whole new unveiling to me. It's like a fucking brand new experience. You know? And it was so fucking scary for me in the beginning because I had no control. None. Over what I was mirroring or creating or reflecting. And I would create some bad shit, you know, for myself and others. And I would live that hell. Not because I wanted it, because I was, you know, ignorant to my role in it or my power over it. So we all have the ability to create heaven on earth, truly. But I don't know if everyone is willing to do what it takes to get there. Because I feel like you have to walk through hell first. And that's just, you know, kind of, from my experience, that's how it's been. You have to go through hell first. You know, you have to be humbled. You have to be broken to be born again in the Spirit. So, I want to thank all of you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. Forgive me for my rants. I'm not trying to bring negativity into your lives and your worlds and all of that. But there's a part of me too that does want to, you know, motivate people to want to know how it works and to want to do something. The internet here, it looks like they did. Great. Alright, it looks like I'm back. Alright, looks like I'm back here. That's wild. I start talking about that. Alright, so I want to thank all of you guys for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Please, please, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out the readings. Book your own personal tarot reading. It helps me out a ton. I can make a video for you too and put it unlisted on the YouTube channel so you have it forever for those that are interested, which is easier for me and it's pretty cool. Make sure you're going into the description and checking out all the different sites that I'm on and following me everywhere and hitting the thumbs up, commenting. I'd be interested to know what you think about all this, and you're subscribing, hitting the bell. You can reach out to me 513-393-2396 or email therealbestdamnpodcast@gmail.com. Please consider donating and supporting. You know, your financial support is what helps me be able to do this and have the freedom financially to be able to do this and still, you know, survive and thrive and all that good stuff, and you know, do what I love and have more time to do me, to do, you know, the experience and expansion of knowledge. I love it. So, and I'd love to, you know, talk to more people, like-minded people. It's kind of my intent with all of this. Join us on Patreon and all that stuff too. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Have a good one. Peace.